Okay, today is more of like question and answers Q&A, and I want to roll fast on them. The first one is, why does marriages fail? This is a very, very amazing question, and it comes from undefined expectations. Expectations, each spouse or each partner coming into a marriage has an expectation of what they are envisioning to see in that marriage. They have an expectation, and when those expectations are not defined, well defined, it affects both sides. If I want to marry and there is something I'm expecting my partner to have or to contribute, and over time I notice that she or he is not contributing those are not making those contributions, it kind of like affects my performances in that relationship or in that marriage. So undefined expectations have a very big role to play in marriages. Very, very big role to play. And the next one is irresponsible people, irresponsible men. Because most men are irresponsible, it affects marriages in the long term because it affects the kids, it affects everything, the fabrics of the marriage. And also, another one is single mothers. There's a statistics that has shown that single fathers train their children to be more responsible in the society more than single mothers. Now, if you're a single mom, and the statistics has proven that you're not likely to train your child to be an effective child in the society. I'm not saying there are no exceptions. There are exceptions, but these are the tendencies that are likely to happen. Now, if you're a single mom and you raise your child with single mom attitude, do you think that marriage is likely to be effective over time or to crash? Because already the child has already learned from you that being a single mom is norm. It's okay to be a single mom. So there is nothing wrong being a single mother. So it creates a cycle in a society that both the man and the woman, both the kids, it's inscribed into their being. So I would say that marriages fail because of irresponsible men, undefined expectation, the increase of single motherhood. Now, what causes the single motherhood? Men who are irresponsible. You get a woman pregnant, you leave her, you run away. You are not taking the responsibility. You're not taking charge of your responsibilities, creating a lot of single mothers, and this cycle keep repeating over time, and affecting our society. Now, the next question is, what role has religion played to mankind's existence? Well, I would say that religion has played a devastating role in the existence of mankind, because the religion is more of like divide and rule. You're a Christian, I'm a Muslim, you're a Hindu, you're a Jewish, so we hate each other. Now, but the fundamental reality of human existence is that we are human before we became religious. So religion has played a vital role in dividing us and making us see each other as less human, and that is very, very devastating to our mindset. Religion is the big monster, because you're religious, because you believe in this faith and I believe in the other faith, I see you as an enemy. There is Our enemy is we are not our enemy. you know we have the same two eyes, one nose, two ears. We breathe the same air. We eat the same food. So what makes you think that I'm different from you and you are different from me? So religion is more of divide and rule. Is the big monster. Because you're religious, when you're doing something wrong, I'm not supposed to correct you. When I'm doing something wrong, because I'm religious and you're in my religious circle, you're not supposed to correct me. That's wrong. So religion has played a devastating role in dividing humanity into pieces and breaking us apart. The next question is, if a country is independent, why are some heads of states puppets? Wow, this is a fantastic question. Now, do you know why? It's because of greed. People are selfish. Their interest is for them and their pockets and their family. So they go for the highest bidder. They go for the person who will pay them more, they go for the highest bidder. The interest of their people are not in their, it's not what they think of. They think of their own pocket. So they become puppets to pay to people who could pay them more. If most of these presidents and prime ministers and head of states are being controlled by just a single phone call. Now, if someone can control you with a single phone call, it means that the interest of your people are not the utmost priority on your table. So I think because of their greed and selfishness, they are selfish. They are after their own pockets. So the interest of their people are not in, it's not their priority. So they prioritize the person who will pay them more. The highest bidder wins the race. So that's why most of them are puppets. Look at Libya. Look at what has happened in Libya. you know Gaddafi had the interest of his people. They eliminated him. You and I, we agree that Libya is better off when Gaddafi was alive than now he's dead. The same thing is happening with Traore, Burkina Faso president. He has the interest of his people, and he's really delivering. He's fighting for his people. And unfortunately, the highest bidder don't like the person who has the interest of his people, because he wants to take the lion's share. Okay, I'll leave it at that spot. Okay, the next question: why don't people chase their dreams? Okay, people don't chase their dreams because it's the system. The system has a very big impact on our lives. The system. Okay, the first 25 years or 22 or 23 years of a child's life is owned by an outsider. An outsider teaches your kids in kindergarten what to do. An outsider teaches your kids what to wear. An outsider teaches your kids the religious belief they should have. By the time the child is around 25 years, the child has already blended into the system. From kindergarten, they teach you A, B, C. In primary school, they teach you. In secondary school, they teach you. By the time you are done, you're already embedded into the system. Now, why don't people chase their dreams? It's because the system does not give people the opportunity to chase their dream. By the time you are working to chase your dream, you are old already. By 25 years, you are supposed to have been on your path to chasing your dream, but that's the time you're already done with university or college. You're already thinking to go find a job and being paid salary. And you and I know that salary does not sustain us, in this economy. So what am I trying to say? That the system has already messed us up. So we do not have time to chase our dream. The next one is family upbringing. The family the child grows from matters a lot. The environment has a very key impact in the life of each and every one of us. Take a seed, put it in alcohol, it dries up. It cannot germinate. Take a seed, put it on a soil. Take a seed, a different one, put it on a soil, and a good soil, it will germinate. What's happened? The alcohol killed the seed. The good soil helped the seed to grow. So if you want to live an effective life, you want to chase your dream, one of it is the environment. The family matters. Okay, look at this guy. There's this guy that from 4 years old, he hits ball with the stick. What is it called? Golf. He was from childhood, from 4 years old. So the father saw that, okay, he kept a ball. He saw that the boy don't play the ball with his leg, but he will use a stick to hit it. So from 4 years old, the father pruned him and grew him and made him to be a world-class golfer. Now, environment matters, family matters. Another one is also people who surrounds you. It also leads to environment, expectations. So it has the system and environment, and your family matters a lot. It matters a lot in people chasing their dream. So if you know that you came from a family that do not support you to live an effective life, what do you do? You have to find people who will help you to live an effective life. Find families, find friends and relatives who have your best interest to help you live an effective life. Do you understand? If you're from an environment that does not propagate or does not support you to live the life you want to live. Find people. If they say, if you see two three of your friends, I can tell you who you are. Your friends, if I can look at your friends, I can tell who you really are. So I'll leave it at that. No, when does a person dies? Wow, this is a fantastic question. When does a person dies? I will say that a person dies when their dream dies. A person is dead when their dream is dead. Not really when they are physically dead. A lot of people are walking dead, zombies. They are walking dead. They are alive, but they are dead, because their dreams are dead. So if you want to live an effective life, you need to hold on to your dream. If you want life to be fantastic for you, you have to have a dream. I have a dream. It's a very popular speech. You need a dream to live an effective life. So if you don't have a dream, how can you live an effective life? There is this book that was written. I've forgotten the title of the book. During the Second World War, a lot of people were kept in prisons, giving harsh treatments and very horrible treatments. They found that some of the people who made it, who survived those harsh and horrible treatments, were people who had dreams and visions to go, they had something to keep them alive. So, okay, that's how I'll leave it at that. Okay, well, the next question is, what do you think is an ideal society? Wow, this is a very good question. Okay, an ideal society is a society that everybody is contributing to the well-being of the whole. Everybody is contributing to the well-being of the community. When everybody is living an effective life, is contributing positively to the well-being of the society, I will consider it an effective life. The problem we have in our society right now is everybody is not contributing to the well-being of everybody, of the whole, or the society. So we have an unideal society. We have a society whereby you are living with fears, because everybody is not contributing. But when everybody is making contribution to make the society better, tell me, wouldn't you consider it an effective society to live? Absolutely, it will be an ideal society. So I will say that a society is ideal when everybody is contributing positively to live for the well-being of everybody in that society. That includes maximizing your talent, making sure that everybody is well off, making sure that that everybody is well fed. These are the tendencies of an ideal society, in my own opinion. Okay, the next question is, I noticed you solicit for people to go back to their cultural values. What do you think? What do you think? Okay, don't you think some cultural practices are dangerous? Okay, this is a fantastic question. I solicit for people to go back to their cultural values because I think that we straying from our cultural values is one of the problems we face in the society. Now, I want to bring two examples. In Africa, in African culture has a collectivity mindset. But in the Western world, they have individualistic mindset. That's their culture. But in African society or culture, we have a collective mindset. And that collective mindset is what has kept our society and our culture for thousands of years. And also the Western culture, they have individualistic mindset. I'm not saying any culture is bad or wrong. No, I'm just saying that the problem with Africa is we are infiltrating, we are trying to infiltrate our collectivity mindsets with individualistic mindset, and it's not going to work. It's not going to work because in Africa we have families take, we don't send our parents to old, what is it called, old homes where they'll be taken care of. We have to take care of our old parents, for our aging parents. There is this collectivity in our culture, and it has been helping us for thousands of years. It works for us, but Individualistic mindset does not work for us. Now, in the Western world, collectivity mindset or collective mindset does not work for them. We respect their culture. You could live individualistic mindset. We don't have problem with that. But do not try to infiltrate or infuse or compel us to live your kind of lifestyle, or your kind to that telling us that your culture is the ideal culture for us. That's not going to work. Neither do we tell you that our culture is the ideal culture for you. No, there has to be a red line where everybody respects the cultural differences of both sides. Do you understand? So now the second part of your question is, don't you think some cultural practices are dangerous? Absolutely, some cultural practices are dangerous. Like in African culture, we don't believe in lesbianism, in homosexuality. We don't believe that. African culture is not an African culture. In the Western culture, maybe that's your culture. We don't have problem with you doing that, but don't expect us to infuse it into our culture. Now, do we consider that lesbianism, homosexuality a dangerous culture for us? Yes, it is, because it's not helping us. All the beautiful ladies, who gonna marry them? All the beautiful men, handsome men, who gonna marry them? But in your culture, we don't have problem with that. Now, some cultural practices are dangerous, even in Africa. But I'm soliciting for people to go back to cultural values that are beneficiary to the society. Remember that an effective society, an ideal society, is everybody's contributing to the betterment or the good of the whole. Do you get my point? Okay. The next question: how best do you think a young person should go after their dream? Okay. How best should a young person go after their dream? The first thing you need to think is, what do I want? What do I want in life is the most important question you need to ask yourself. What do I want? If you know what you want in life, you've answered 50% of the problem. You've solved 50% of the problem. The next 50% is for you to figure out how to get it done. Do you get my point? So 50% is, what do I want? Now, what do I want is 50% part of it. Now, how to get it? It makes you are specific on the road, on the path, on the decisions to make to get what you want. Do you understand what I'm saying? Okay. And how best? Okay, the next question is, what is the biggest problem you see in the world at the moment? Wow, this is a fantastic question. The biggest problem I see in the world at the moment is lack of common sense and people straying from their cultural values. I think that we've, you know, each culture has a way of embedding common sense into it. In African culture, I'm an African man, I'm a proud Igbo man. We have a culture that embeds common sense in our cultural values. So when we begin to stray or leave those cultural values, you see that we begin to act crazy, act insane, because we are not living within the concept or the frame of our cultural values. Now, uh, the lack of common sense is because people are living their culture. They believe an external culture is far better than their own culture. Well, I don't have problem with that, but when you check it over time, you find out that this culture that we are inviting, or we are putting on, is really affecting our lives, the lives of our kids, of our society. It's really harming us is causing more harm than good. And also, we living our culture has a detrimental consequences, because over time it makes people more of like schizophrenics. You've accepted so much that you don't even know what you're doing anymore. So I think lack of common sense and we strain from our cultural values are one of the problem I see in the world at the moment. And only few people really have it. Only people really still retain these common sense and cultural values and norms. Okay, Is it okay for people to make mistakes? Yes, yes. It's how absolutely yes. Make mistakes, most especially when you're young. It's good for people to make mistakes. It's good. I really encourage people to make mistakes. When you make mistakes, you learn from your mistakes. The person who invented the light bulb, he made mistakes. He learned from his mistakes, and today we have a light bulb that everybody uses in the world. If he never made those mistakes, how would he have known that he could get it right? So make mistakes, but there are certain stage of your life that some mistakes becomes expensive mistakes, very very expensive mistake. You cannot make some certain mistake at some certain stage or age in your life. Do you understand my point? So make mistakes when you are young, and when over time you learn from your mistakes and know what not to do. Okay, the last question is, do we come from the same source? Wow, yes, absolutely. All of us came from the same source. It's like if there are mangoes, the mangoes came from one tree? Yes, yes, it did. It's like if there are three, four kids and they have parents, and you're asking, are all these your kids? Yes, they are my kids. But do they have the same abilities? No, all fingers are not equal. All of us came here for a purpose, for a function, and our ability to maximize those function, those capabilities to become an effective person is why we are given life. We are given life because we have a job, a function to do on earth. And if we do not do those things, we will be held accountable, because the purpose of life is to live it effectively, to fulfill a function. I hope this video helps you, or this question helps you to check it out and live an effective life. That's what I'm here for us to live an effective life. Think it through and see, is my life, am I living an effective life? These are fantastic questions that I've answered, and I hope this helps you to think through life and be the best you could be. Until next time, I bounce.